Pegasus Bridge, originally called the Bonneville Bridge after the neighboring village, is a road crossing over the Curren Canal, between Curren and Ouistreham in Normandy. The original bridge, built in 1934, is now a war memorial and is the centerpiece of the Memorial Pegasus Museum at nearby Ranville. It was replaced in 1994 by a modern design which, like the old one, is a bascule bridge. On the 6th of June, 1944, during the Second World War, the bridge was, along with the nearby Ranville Bridge over the Orne River, another road crossing, later renamed Horsa Bridge, the objective of members of D Company, 2nd Airborne Battalion, Oxfordshire and Buckinghamshire Light Infantry, a glider-borne force who were part of the 6th Air Landing Brigade of the 6th Airborne Division during Operation Tonga in the opening minutes of the Allied invasion of Normandy. Under the command of Major John Howard, D Company was to land close by the bridges in 6 airspeed Horsa gliders and, in a coup-de-main operation, take both intact and hold them until relieved by the main British invasion forces. The successful capture of the bridges played an important role in limiting the effectiveness of a German counterattack in the aftermath of the Normandy invasion. Later in 1944, the Bonneville Bridge was renamed Pegasus Bridge in honor of the operation. The name is derived from the shoulder emblem worn by British airborne forces of I Airborne Corps, United Kingdom, which depicts Bellerophon riding the flying horse Pegasus. Pegasus Bridge and the structure that replaced it in 1994 are examples of a distinct subtype of bascule bridge, the Scherzo Rolling Lift Bascule Bridge or Rolling Bridge. Bridges of this type do not pivot about a hinge point, but roll back on curved tread plates attached to the girders of the main span. This design allows a greater clearance of the waterway for a given opening angle. On the night of the 5th of June, 1944, a force of 181 men, led by Major John Howard, took off from RAF Tarrant Rushton in Dorset, southern England in 6 Horsa gliders to capture Pegasus Bridge, and also Horsa Bridge, a few hundred meters to the east, over the Orne River. The force was composed of D Company, reinforced with 2 platoons of B Company, 2nd Battalion, Oxford and Bucks Light Infantry, 20 sappers of the Royal Engineers of 249 Field Company, Airborne, and men of the Glider Pilot Regiment. The object of this action was to prevent German armor from crossing the bridges and attacking the eastern flank of the landings at Sword Beach, and to prevent the British 6th Airborne Division from being cut off. 5 of the Ox and Bucks's gliders landed as close as 47 yards 43 meters from their objective 16 minutes past midnight. The attackers poured out of their battered gliders, completely surprising the German defenders, and took the bridges within 10 minutes. They lost 2 men in the process, Lieutenant Den Brotheridge and Lance Corporal Fred Greenhalgh. Greenhalgh drowned in a nearby pond when his glider landed. Lieutenant Brotheridge was mortally wounded crossing the bridge in the first minutes of the assault and became the first member of the invading Allied armies to die as a result of enemy fire on D-Day. 1 glider, assigned to the capture of the Orne River Bridge, landed at the bridge over the River Dives, some 7 miles 11 kilometers away. Most of the soldiers in this glider moved through German lines towards the village of Ranville where they eventually rejoined the British forces. The Ox and Bucks were reinforced at 3 hours by Lieutenant Colonel Pinecoffin's 7th Parachute Battalion and linked up with the beach landing forces with the arrival of Lord Lovat's commandos. Among the first of the 7th Battalion reinforcements was Lieutenant Richard Todd, a young actor, who, nearly 2 decades later, would play Major Howard in the film The Longest Day. 4. In 1984, as part of the 40th anniversary commemorations, the Royal Yacht Britannia sailed past the bridge en route to Curren. The ship passed in the early hours, escorted by 2 tugs and HMS Torquay. The original Pegasus Bridge now resides in the grounds of the Pegasus Museum. The museum was inaugurated by the Prince of Wales on the 4th of June, 2000, Brigadier James Hill, Francoise Gondry foundress with General Sir Richard Nelson Gale as President, 6, and lies at the eastern end of the current bridge. The original bridge was replaced in 1994 by the wider, stronger structure. Built by Spy Batignolles, it had been extended by 5 meters in the early 1960s to accommodate the widening of the canal and remained in use until 1993. After its replacement, Pegasus Bridge was left on waste ground. The bridge was sold to the museum for the symbolic price of 1 franc. Many of the soldiers killed in the actions of June 1944 are buried in the war cemetery at Ranville. Lieutenant Brotheridge's grave, which is located in the churchyard next to the cemetery, has a commemorative plaque that was installed by the Gondry family. The museum contains a cafe and a small museum shop that sells Pegasus Bridge-related material. Arlette Gondry, who now runs Café Gondry, was a small child living in the home when it was liberated. It is not certain that the famous Gondry Café was the first French house to be liberated during D-Day. In the book Commando du Pont Pegasus, French historian Norbert Huged writes that it was the house owned by Mr. Picot that was liberated first, a few hours before the Gondry's house.